What's happening? We're here with King Banana Head in the opening. Today's going to be fairly short. Saturday's kind of a bad day to do it at this hour, especially. Should do this early in the morning, but I was tied up, and I kind of slept in today. So that's cool. Something here. Here we go. Here we go. Hello there, Hepper7. What's going on? You know, I have no idea, like, how many people are watching. You know, when I look, it only says 2, so it's kind of weird. Hopefully there's more than 2. So apparently, this freaking anti-male Barbie movie is going to be #1, have a phenomenal weekend, and it's nothing but this third-wave feminist horseshit that makes men look like a-holes the entire movie, like a screed against males, and yet for some reason, women are really latching on to this crap. It's supposed to have one of the biggest weekends of the year. So what does that tell you? Now, I don't know if women ever realize that eventually they may get married and have sons, but pretty sad state of affairs. So anyway, hopefully, you know, you didn't go see Barbie, but I would like to see Oppenheimer. I don't know if I would pay to see it. I'll probably wait till, you know, it's on streaming. And yeah, because it's, you know, people are like, you got to go see it on IMAX. Why? Why the hell would I go spend $100, take somebody else food, sit with a bunch of strangers that are, you know, farting and kicking my chair and making noise, and yeah, screw that. Movies are over, man. So anyway, my big news, I said, you know, giant news. It is giant. I'll wait if there's anyone else that's going to pile in here. I don't know who knows this, who doesn't, but not back in the day. Like last year, I purchased this enormous freaking, got the wrong vowel in the spelling, not enough O's. Okay. Last year, I bought this freaking... Oh, by the way, this shirt came from Alaska, right? It's a brewery. It was like on a tour. What is it called? Alaska something or other. And the beer was good. I'm not a huge beer drinker, but as part of this tour, it ended at this brewery. And what the hell's the name of it? Alaska Pilot Series. Hey, John, how are you? And anyway, this Alaska brewery had some great beer. And I told them, I said, hey, could you ship that to Florida? And they're like, no, by the time it got there, it'd be stale. And I'm like, really? I mean, what? You don't have planes you could put it in? But apparently, they actually, they're selling out. They're selling out of this beer. And I told them, I said, you know how many people, like in the South, U.S., John, you could probably get this in your neck of the woods, in Washington. But I said, man, people saw this Alaska brew, they'd go nuts over here for it for sure, especially with like nobody buying Bud Light. but they have, I guess, distribution issues and they can't get it. But they had this all kinds of cool clothes. They actually had some of the coolest clothes, like T-shirts and swag. So I picked up a few shirts. Now, wearing long sleeves in the heat of summer in Florida is probably not the smartest thing, but I liked it. It was a cool shirt. I got like 3 or 4 different shirts from there. But the beer is good. I sampled, I think, like 6 different kinds: ambers, lagers, IPAs. But I kind of like lagers for whatever, and light if I'm going to have beer at all. Anyway, September, if you're interested from a toy perspective, watch, I'm gonna expand this. I'm gonna show you something. The most epic issue in the history of Antique Toy World magazine is going to be released, and it's this right here. Let's see if I could get this straight. Oh, it's hard to see. It's hard to see. There we go. So the next issue, because I think I received August already, and it's what? Well, I guess towards the end of July. It's going to be a 10-page spread on the collection here. We had Catherine Saunders Watson, journalist from Live Auctioneers, did an extensive interview and, just a deep dive into the collection. And she is a toy aficionado. She understands toys. She understands the rare toys, the values, the rarity. She appreciates the nuances that this collection offers. So, it's nice to have somebody that when they're looking at specific really rare items, they have context, because the problem that I have when people come through, like I'll give you an example. I had a huge family, and I think I've mentioned this on the last live stream, with 2 teenage girls. The teenage girls, they're like oblivious. They were kind of like just not into this as much. The grandpa, who's a retired doctor, was into it, and at the end, when they were on, one of them was playing the Led Zeppelin pinball, the other one was playing the Beatles, and I'm talking about the Shibakin and the Yamashita custom robots, and some of the toy Robot Hut toys too, because they're in that case as well. He's like really into it. The grandpa that bought him there, and I think there was 6 in the family. And he's like, get off of those pinballs, come here and listen. And I'm like, no, let them play, because it's like they're rolling their eyes. So, yeah, that's a challenge, But it's good to get the kids interested. And locally, since we're discussing news, we did make the cover of the local magazine here. Now, the irony, though, was that this was the only issue in the years that I've been living in this town that we never received. And I was like, what the hell, dude? Of all the times that we didn't get it, like most of my neighbors didn't get it. So I called the guy and I said, hey, we did the story and nobody got it. What's going on? And he was like, oh, I don't know. And I said, well, check the post office. We've had some really bad carriers. Do you see who the post office hires these days? It's crazy. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. We have a new carrier now. There was reports of mail being stolen. So, whatever. Whatever. I don't know what happened. I said, dude, you better look, because he said they shipped like 5,000 out to go to various homes. I said, nobody I know received it. Well, a handful of people. So, I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they're still either sitting in the post office, if they just dumped them, But anyway, so that's some news. But the big news is this. Last year, I'm going to play this for you. It's in entirety 2 minutes and 13 seconds. So watch it. Yeah, tough times, tough crime. Well, they did a, I don't know if they arrested them, but they did catch, well, I guess they did arrest them. They caught at least 1 or 2 carriers that were stealing, opening mail, taking money out, things like that. Sucks. Sucks. So, I mean, they probably don't give a crap if, a free magazine like this, was thrown away. But for me, I care, because there was a whole sidebar about the collection here. So blows. But anyway, check this out. I'm going to play this for you, and let me shrink myself. All right, and I'm going to do this. Center it. This is a 1963 Belgian decaf robot band. There's varying stories of how many they made. I've been told there was 3 to 6, maybe. But there's different styles. This is the 105 key, arguably the largest example of this. I'm assuming it runs on pneumatics. Brother Al, how are you? Al S. We have Al V, and now Al S. Now there's a reason I'm showing you this enormous band, which is 11 and a half feet wide. Now I'm glad you made it, Al. It's 10 feet tall, although when they advertised it, I think they had a height of 8 feet listed, so it was sort of like misrepresented inadvertently. Chuck E. Cheese, no man. I wish it was Chuck E. Cheese prices. So these typically have been at hotels, I guess, in the Netherlands or in Belgium. So again, almost 12 feet wide, 10 feet tall, and I'm not 100% sure. I think it's like 5. Yeah, I've seen as little as 3, but I'm thinking around 5 feet deep. Now, I actually won this thing, and it was over 300 grand. Yes, over 300 grand. That was before the buyer's premium, before shipping. I had to have this shipped from overseas. I'll just back it up here, just prettier picture. And it's been sitting at Morphy's for over a year, and I've been looking for possibly a retail location that I could display this thing, because the problem is when it was listed at 8 feet tall, I had ceiling height here. At 10 feet tall, I don't have it. I think I have like 9.5 maximum. Now I have a drop ceiling everywhere, but I have the lighted ceiling, number one. Number two, there's vents and wires and everything underneath. So it would be very difficult to raise the ceiling. Not only that, the only place that it would potentially have fit was where I have my pinball games lined up. So it's, you know, that height just created a problem. Now in this town, there is like a dearth of retail space. Yeah, right. Well, 300 yen. No, I wish it was yen. 300,000 yen would be a couple $1,000. That would be nice. So, and I don't want to rent because, number one, there are like a handful of families that own so much real estate around here, especially commercial. And one of them is kind of like acquired this reputation as sort of like the commercial slumlord, you know, and if they have mold and leaky ceilings, they don't care, and they charge a bundle. So finally, I made the executive decision. I met with an architect for 5 hours yesterday, and what I'm going to do is expand the rear of this building simply to accommodate this behemoth, you know, and it's been sitting at Morphy's. It cost $20,000 to ship this thing from Europe. It's on 16 skids. So at first we were going to, because I love symmetry, I wanted to bump straight out of the back. And thank God there's a retention pond behind me. So there's the little road that curves where the dumpster is, and then the side parking lot. And man, I would love to have a pizza parlor, because I'm like, that's my number one food. That would be fantastic. So doing it straight would have given the width, but the depth would have been, how could I? The depth would have only been maybe like 10 feet. So he said, let's, instead of doing perfect symmetry at the back of the building, we're going to, let me see if I could, I'll just do a quick sketch because it's easier to show you. Let's see. So now imagine this, the widest part here, without that extra piece here. Without that piece here, would have been just symmetrically added onto the bottom floor. But by going and adding this piece, you know, to make it like an L, basically we'll be able to, instead of putting, you know, it's hard to, instead of putting it here across, we're going to be able to put it, oh, this is so hard to like, because I'm showing you backwards. We're going to be able to put it, stop, stay there. We're going to put it where, on the back end, here, let me try this way, here. And so we'll have all this space here for chairs and stuff. So basically, it's going to be able to breathe, and we might be able to have like 2 to 3 rows of seats in front of it. And then we have this almost like a gallery. Now, there's 3 windows here. This is the back of the building here. There's 3 windows, and one of those will be taken out, and it'll be a door. And the door will be where the actual movie room is now. So you can kind of like transition from the movie room into this like grander space. Well, I think it's adding like 400 square feet. And it'll be set up where the long gallery could accommodate a couple more cases if I want to do that. So that's the plan. Now, because we're in what's called the Sawgrass community here, I have to have architectural approval, and then I have to have the town approve it, the county, whatever. But like from a setback perspective, because it's the back of the building and it's facing the retention pond, there's no homes back there, and I own 1/3 of that retention pond. So I think we're going to be able to do it. Now, it's not going to be cheap, but you know what? I have it. It's sitting there. And, you know, once it's done, it's done. So I just said, you know what? Looking to buy retail would cost millions of dollars here. Millions. In fact, the plaza right across the street, it's a big plaza, right across the street from the building here, the people that own it turned down $20 million. You can't find anything to buy retail. And what's the point of even like having this off site? Now, originally I thought of doing like a retro modern cafe, like a 50s retro modern. Now, by doing the extension this way, maybe in the front I might be able to get one of those robot baristas, and rather than just have like a theater layout with a bunch of, you know, chairs like you're watching a movie on, and it's a stage, I might just do like some small cocktail tables and chairs and have the robot barista. And this way, it'll be kind of like its own self-contained coffee house. And I might have that as a separate attraction for the museum, or like kind of an extra thing that you have to pay for. Because, you know, quite honestly, it'll cost so much that it would be nice to be able to recoup some of the costs. Now, there's another issue. It's just, and John probably knows this, building the robot hut. First of all, this thing was wired on the Euro, whatever. I think it's like 220 or 210. Exactly. A coffee bistro at night would be really cool. Little shots of something in the coffee. BYOB. That would be good. BYOB. And then you could spike the coffee. So it has to be converted from 210. I think it's 210 or 220 in Europe. They got those funky plugs. And then we have to figure out, like, does the air conditioning system, have enough capacity, or maybe we add a split unit in there. I told them, well, let's probably just add a split unit. And then the other thing is, where do you tap in to add a circuit for this thing? And how much is it going to draw? So just building the space, there's still other considerations. Do we want windows? We want to minimize it so that we don't, let in heat from the sun. This way the cooling isn't going to be as intense. Now, I just had the AC in my office changed. I don't know if I mentioned that last time. It's like $12,000 because I did a 2-speed unit, which is the more efficient and it has better humidity control. But I took 2 suites when I created this space. And this unit that I'm sitting in was built in 2016. So he thought it was going to be good. I said, well, the other one went, so let's change. And the other one was from 2020, and it was just crap. I don't know. It was installed improperly. So I thought, let's just change them both. He goes, no, this one looks like it's in good shape. But lo and behold, we had to change it. $12,000 because you have to get a crane, the fan, the compressors up on the roof, the air handlers right over my head. But we got it done with minimal disruption, thank God. So, a split unit might be the way to go because then it's all on the ground. So we're in the process now. We're going to have the blueprints run up. Now, because of this stupid band, because, Al Schlesinger, I did consider, like, I just want to sell this thing, and, like, I don't know if I'd get my money back, if I'd break even. I mean, I could put a reserve on it, obviously. But at the end of the day, I bought it because I think this thing is friggin' phenomenal. And as far as I know, this will be the only publicly viewable decap robot band in the United States. I've heard that there's one other collector that has this. I think the San Filippo collection that has all those musical orchestrons. They're like the famous Fisher Nut family, billion-dollar family, I think. And they open their collection a couple of times a year just for charity events, but it's not open to the public. So this is it's a spectacular piece. And you know what? I'd hate to lose it and then regret the fact that, I had it. I've always liked these things. And I mean, it's 1963, which is the freaking heart of the whole era, 1963, Jupiter Robot, Mr. Atomic, the Diamond Planet robot. I mean, there's I think Mr. Mercury's, so many famous robots were literally from 1963. I think that was the alleged container ship that a lot of the robots sunk to the bottom of the sea. It was in that year. That's why there's so many rare robots. What do I think it's worth? First of all, solar, I don't know if I think it's too shady for solar. I'm not worried about the electric cost. The way the electric works in this building, we have, I think 8 tenants, and we all split it, whatever the electric is. If it's pneumatic, then you might be able to switch out the 220 vac blowers for 120. Well, it's commercial, so we have, I think the commercial lines are like 410 or 420. So we have the voltage. The Ask the Brain has a pneumatic system in it, so I'm not worried about, being able to power it. Whether we could power it off my sub panel that I put in, that's another question. If we had to add a circuit to the main board, we have room in there. We could. Then we'd have to tap into the major line. So, I mean, it gets a little complicated, but it's a huge undertaking just for this piece. But it'll add space at the end of the day. And you know what? Once it's done, it's done. It's going to add value to the building, and it gives me the ability to display this thing. And just one more reason to come see the museum. So we will see. Now, because of this, because of the expense, and because I bought Christy a crazy car. Now, I did do the unveiling of her car. Now, I bought that car. It's a couple years old. It's not brand new. Has 10,000 miles. So it actually took like 50% of its depreciation already. And that's the one thing that, we were thinking about. We don't drive that much. So I said, you know what? We don't have to go brand spanking new because it's like in brand new condition, 3-year warranty, bumper to bumper. And this way you don't have to worry about a little door ding here and there. So, having said that, still wasn't cheap. And unfortunately, I was the one thing I wanted. I'm going to transition to the Joel McGee Disney collection. The one friggin' piece that I wanted above all, those 3 hitchhiking ghosts. And if you see here, they sold for $320,000. The opening bid was 80. It was estimated 80 to like 120. And I was the underbidder on these freaking ghosts. It was the one item that I had set my freaking sights on. And now, let me see if I could. I'm going to pull them up. Joe McGee Ghosts. Just to show you. TikTok. So these 2 paintings, just to give you an idea, sold for $100,000 and $120,000. Let me mute it. The 2 stretchy paintings, sold for $120,000. I'll stop it when it gets to the ghosts. Now that's my $150 for this painting. I didn't realize they stretch. I thought they were long and that the thing went down, like the elevator would go down. This Doom Buggy I also considered, but that sold for $170,000. I was like, damn. So here they are, these hitchhiking ghosts. So the story with these are, they were in the ride, and if you have ever been on the Haunted Mansion ride, at the end of the ride, when you're in the Doom Buggy, there's a mirror, and you're looking at the mirror, and I think there's 3 people in the car that could fit. You look in the mirror, and these 3 ghosts are literally sitting in the car with you because of, I guess it was like a 2-way mirror, and they're projected in your car. So it's like the ghosts were your narrators, and they were sitting with you the entire time, narrating your trip through the Haunted Mansion. By far my favorite ride at Disneyland. As much as I don't like Disney right now as a company, I did like these ghosts. And these mechanical ghosts were the ones that they used on the ride until like 2010. And then they changed over to like a digital projection system. Now, I felt I had a good chance to win these. And I started researching them like during, just before the bidding. I need a sip of water here. So they described it as, Joel McGee having acquired these at D23, I guess, auction in 2011. I got turned into a ghost in the mirror. That's classic. And Huffer 7, thank you on the congratulations on the Robot amp. So in 2011 at this D23 auction, these 3 ghosts sold. They weren't mounted like this. This is an entire custom display that was built for these. And I guess they work. They're animatronics. They were loose sitting on a table, and they sold for $38,000. Now, I understand that like the price back then in 2011 is not going to reflect what you could buy something for today, clearly. But as I'm bidding, right, and once this thing went over $250,000, now I'm like, damn it, there's got to be one other a-hole like me that's driving this price up. So I'm trying to like rationalize, what is viable, and even where I would stage these. So I had a spot in mind. I did figure out a spot that I could actually display these. I was going to, slide a few things and a space for a future item I was going to like reallocate. So I did have a spot for them. But when it broke 300, you have to take into account there's a 21% buyer's premium, and that doesn't include shipping. So I just said, all right, I'm going to give it one last shot. So I went 310, and I was like, that's it. I didn't even want to go beyond 3, but I said, I'm going to do it one more time. I go to 310, and then the next bid went to 320. So out the door, though, the winning bid with the premium is 387, not including shipping. Now, basically, you're looking at close to 400,000. So for me, if I would have went up, it would have been over 400,000 for sure. And I'm sitting there thinking, like, from 38,000, you went 11 times that price. I wasn't there physically to see them. I don't know the quality of this construction, this custom casing. I don't know who made it. And, honestly, this collection has some Disney item, but this is, it's not in any way, shape, or form like a Disney themed or Disney heavy collection at all. I mean, it's just in the periphery, there's a couple of Disney items. And then monster stuff too. But so with the combination of Christie's car, the combination of the pending construction, I just said, you know what, I can't do it. Now, there's no guarantee. Let's say I would have went to 330, because that's what I would have had to have exceeded, and it was $10,000 increments. There's no guarantee that the bidding would have stopped there. I mean, the guy would have possibly, the bidder, who I don't know who it was. Some people said John Stamos was bidding. I have no idea. Al, that's funny you say that, because somebody did say in the future these could be $1 million. I don't know. It's possible. But the other thing I thought of is, from a perspective of just an animatronic, right? Maybe somebody could just create something for me that, replicate these things on a 3D printer, paint them with like glow-in-the-dark paint. I don't know. I don't know. If I had more history, if I was there in person to see them, see the quality. I know when I dug up the pictures from the D23 auction, there was some chips, there were some holes, so these must have been repaired along its life cycle. I just don't know all the details about it, but I have no doubt in my mind that, I don't know about millions, plural, but could these reach $1 million possibly? Or maybe the interest, kind of dissipates. There is a Haunted Mansion movie coming out soon, I guess. I mean, there was a trailer for it on YouTube. So if they do some kind of woke crap, typical Disney woke crap, and, it's a screed against the evil white men, maybe it diminishes the value, kind of like they've done with Star Wars. Although, to be fair, the early stuff that's before this era of crap seems to, have a lot of value. And that goes for Star Wars too. Like, at the Hake auction recently, they had a Han Solo prototype, and I mentioned this before, a bland plastic prototype Han Solo action figure, and it went for over $200,000, which to me is insane, because it's a blob of plastic. But, well, not a blob, but, it's an unpainted figure. I think the Robot Band. Now, okay, and here's another, if I juxtapose these hitchhiking ghosts versus this elaborate friggin', and by the way, yes, you can, there's a guy in England that actually tuned it So this has been restored, number one. And there's somebody that tunes it, and they can make, I think it runs off like those scroll wheels. Like, you can actually have custom songs made. In my opinion, this is a $500,000 piece, especially if it's converted to like US specs, US electrical. Once it's up, now it's already here, so the hard part's done. And from what I understand, I spoke to the guy that does the shipping at Morpheus. It's in 16 skids right now. 16. So that's like 16 pallets is what it was broken down into. So it's very sophisticated. I mean, you have, first of all, you have vintage horn, vintage drums, vintage, what is that, sax? You have a lot of vintage instruments, vintage accordions, vintage bells up top over there. So this is Beatles era crap, man. You know, we could just as well put Ringo. And I don't know if you could see it. On the side, there's also a little robot. Let me see if I could find it over here. See if they... I think there's something that says, you know, asking for donations. I'm surprised I can't find, right? It's right over here where it says tips. See where my arrow's pointing there? There's a small little toadies. Toadies, not roadies. They come with toadies. So yeah, I'm disappointed that I didn't get the Ghost, you know. But at the end of the day, the price of the Ghost would exceed my construction costs for the extension of my building, and you know, you have to make some choices in life. And I mean, I could have done it, but at some points you just got to say no. Well, Decap, I think Decap's still around. And Decap, if you look up Decap, as far as scratch built, Decap made a ton of musical stuff. So, you know, Decap from musical... Oh, John, that's a great idea. That's a great idea. You know, modify it. Then I could have it do some like Beatles tunes from the 60s. That'd be good. I'm trying to think, you know, what Beatles songs had horns, like All You Need Is Love, you know, the way it starts, dun, 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 dun. That would be really cool. So yeah, this could be flexible. But, you know, at the end of the day, yes, I'm disappointed that I didn't get the stupid Ghost. Let me look up here if I could get a better picture. Let's see if I can show you the little robot on the side. Yeah, here it is. So see right here, the little robot. If I expand that out. So over here in this corner, you got this beautiful, can it even expand more? Not really, but you have this mini robot asking for tips and has the stanchion. So we were trying to figure out, my architect, the height, and we assumed that these stanchion poles were like 3 feet. So we went 3, you know, and we're hoping that, you know, 10 feet. Well, it came already. It was delivered on a container ship. So, you know, part of me was hoping, though, going back to these stupid Ghosts, part of me was hoping that Van Eaton was going to contact me and say, oh, the bidder of the Ghost backed out. And I'm like, all right, I'll take it, you know, but I don't know. Disney, you know, obviously has the name recognition, the brand, right? Even though as tainted as it is right now. But c'est la vie, you know, I'm sure we'll find out who won them at some point. Do space robots wear space? You know, I have a lot of robots that, and John knows this too. There's a ton of robots that have helmets on them, believe it or not. And why they need them, we don't know. Maybe it protects them from radiation. It's not necessarily to breathe. So anyway, speaking of giant robots, in the first of hopefully many, I actually got a few of these. Well, not of this particular one, but a few large, oversized jumbos. And I always like this style. If John's still on here, you got to tell me if you have this, John. This is one of the jumbos. Oops, let me fix that there. I'm going to move the mic. This is this humongous. It's one of the, I'm assuming this is a jumbo Mashinder. It's one of the styles I really like because it has kind of like a 50s feel to it. I don't know if it's in pieces in here. I do know he's got a bunch of missiles in here. Actually got wheels on the bottom. And he has two alien creatures. I don't know if they're controlling him or what. Some removable fists. I guess it would go here. And a bunch of these missiles that shoot. And a booklet too. This is probably the nicest example of this. Box back there. I'll leave them like this for now. And back here. Yeah, I'm starting to get into these jumbos because the early ones, though, the early 70s, I just think the style of the early ones, I'm not a huge fan of the Shogun Warriors, but these early 70 ones, they're just really cool. I just really dig them. So you'll see more of them in the future. Now, the person that I bought that from also had a piece. This is my unboxing here, unveiling. He had this piece which I was missing. It's not complete. I think it's missing an antenna. And again, if John's still on here, he can tell me. But it's hard to find. And now this is the third one, or he's missing a hand or a couple of hands. This is the Mexican bank robot. It's sort of modeled after the Japanese Alps series, like the Missile Man, the Moon Explorer, and the Rocket Man. I think that stands for like Banco Mexico. And I'm trying to think where you put the coin in. Or I'm trying to see where the slot is. Maybe this one isn't a bank. I don't know. I don't see a slot. I do see that, unless that comes out to become a slot. Maybe you just push it through. There's a gap over there. But anyway, so now I have 3 out of 4. No, I don't have Godzilla. Let's stick him back here. So more fantastic plastic. And yeah. Yep. Let's see here. Hold on. I got a picture. Got a picture sent here. Let me me shrink this. And I'm going to have to get rid of these ghosts now because it's kind of depressing that I didn't win them. I'll be honest with you. I thought I'd actually get the Doom buggy and the ghost. So I'll go back to the band because you know why? At least I own the band. So I'm happy. And that's enough. Now, the prices realized have been published by Van Eaton. Also, their catalog is completely online. So if you want to see, this guy had a ton of stuff. Now, it's funny. He lives in West Palm Beach, and I'm in the Jacksonville area. And I've purchased a lot of stuff from Toy Scout. I think that's his eBay ID, and also FX Toys. And I never even realized. Like, and now it's like, oh, that's the Joel McGee. But you could see here, if you go to Van Eaton Galleries, you could see a ton of stuff. I don't know how the hell he even acquired this stuff. Well, I guess at auctions like I did. But I'm surprised that Disney made this stuff available, like cast uniforms. And I did get, to be fair, which is even worse, though. Which is even worse. I got a 60s lithograph Haunted Mansion poster. Not like the reprints, but an original poster, which sucks even more because I got the poster thinking that I'd win those stupid ghosts. Anyway, let's see. So, John, you don't have the big jumbo, or you don't have that Mexican bank? Because I'm trying to figure out. Let's see. Did I go through some of these chats here? Yeah, I'm not sure. But if you have this, John, and you could 3D print the hands. Oh, by the way, John, I have to, if you don't mind, I have to still send you that Astro Boy smoke gun. I have that pending. There was something else I wanted to stick in there. Well, now I'll look for the camera too. If I have that camera, I'm just going to send that over to you. But if you have that, and maybe we get the hands printed, I don't know. So, but going back, yeah, there was a lot of cool stuff here. The other thing, I look at this like the door for guest relations. It's like, how the hell do you get that thing? They did have the other thing that I what the hell was it? The Twilight Zone Tower of Terror. They had a big TV. It was a prop, and behind the prop was a flat screen, and the flat screen had, I guess, a couple of DVD players, and that was in the staging area where you would get on the rides, or the terror ride specifically, and it would play like Rod Serling and some stuff. And again, it was another thing that I considered. I think the opening bid was like $5,000. It ended up going for $37,000 before the premium, so it was like $45,000, give or take. And again, it was one of those things. I liked it, but if you're, and not only that, they had almost like the, like you see this thing here, they had the elevator dial thing. So, thank you, Al. I appreciate that. And, I was kind of like, you know what? It's a freaking, it looked like a prop like that I buy at Halloween time. Bigger, but, and I know it's Disney. I know it's used in the park. But like $40,000 for a freaking, like a resin prop that you could buy at Halloween, something that looks like that at Sam's Club or Walmart, like a haunted TV with a cheap flat screen behind it. So I just said no. Now this was kind of cool too. The see down here. Let me drop this down a bit. This was the Mold-O-Rama machine. This ended up going for like $20,000 or $30,000. These are cool machines. I'd like to have one here, but they make your entire freaking space smell like this melted plastic, and they need servicing. I have I have a fortune teller and a shooting game now that needs servicing, and I don't have a like arcade operator, so that's the the pain in the ass when you actually run these old items. The fortune teller is like over 100 years old. But we'll get to the good stuff here. And this guy had, he must have walked away with a couple of mil after this auction. Look at this. This is like a design. This is like a model of a float they were considering doing. And it's funny because you don't even see Mickey Mouse really highlighted. So you see the, well, let me drop down again. So I actually won a real like 60s lithograph of this Haunted Mansion poster right here with the cursors moving. And it was freaking expensive. Expensive. You know, they have later versions that they print, you know, probably on an inkjet printer. And I'm like, no, no, no. I want the lithograph, the real deal. You know, they look a lot better. These original posters, I could tell you, were going for like 15 to 25,000. I mean, absolutely insane. I said to myself, I wonder if Disney themselves are just like trying to raise cash, and they were blowing out this stuff. And they're like, hey, Joe, you got some stuff. We're going to give you a bunch of crap because, you know, they're hurting for cash, you know. And I think, Al, you brought that up earlier in the stream. Disney's hurting right now. They're trying to acquire the remaining third of Hulu, which they own 2/3 of it, and Comcast owns the other third, and they're contractually obligated to purchase the remaining third. And they're like, first of all, out of cash, and they're like, well, it's $10 billion. Comcast is like, no, it's like $30 billion. People are estimating it's going to cost them between 20 to 24 billion, and they don't have the cash, and their movies are losing money. They've lost $1 billion on their movies recently just because it's a bunch of like woke feminist crap. So, you know, I wouldn't put it past them that they're considering selling like ABC Network, partnering on ESPN, which they own. So they're in trouble. They're in trouble. You know, people are tuning out. You know, we don't want to see Han Solo dead and Luke Skywalker dead and bitter old men, bitter old, Indiana Jones that can't do anything. Feld always bested by the young women upstarts. The same stupid trope now that they do. But man, I'll tell you that I actually have it right here. I think I showed you this before. Look at the side. This is the catalog. Look how thick this thing is. It's like a freaking old phone book. And where the hell did he keep all this stuff? Some of this stuff is enormous. Freaking enormous. Must have had a warehouse. I actually, there's, they could go bankrupt. But then if you go bankrupt, you're forced to liquidate stuff. So I don't know if that's viable. Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one that I want right here. This Haunted Mansion poster. This is the real deal one right here. Whoops. Whoop. Let me shrink that back down. Nope, that's no good. Here we go. Bring this back over there. Yeah, Snow Brown. Snow Brown and the 7 homeless guys that they hired. Here's those stretchy portraits. This is an actual control panel. Now, he had this custom, so the control panel didn't come on this pedestal. So this is all custom made with the gargoyles, but it was a nice presentation and it sold for huge dollars. Here's the Doom Buggy. The estimate 30 to 50,000 and it sold for 170, this Doom Buggy. I don't know what this stanchion sold for, but supposedly it was in the park since the day the Haunted Mansion opened. This ghoul mask, I'm going to have to drop it down again. This thing went for crazy money too. I think like 20,000 for this mask. This was like a pop-up ghoul from the cemetery of the Haunted Mansion. Unreal. Here they are. These are the ghosties with the mosties right there. So yeah, and then I'm just going to flip through to the, see if I can find that Twilight Zone. I think the Dumbo, like one of the Dumbo rides, sold for 220,000. That actual ride that you sit in with the big Dumbo, this right here. Yeah, that was a Dumbo, 220 grand. I mean, I can't imagine who wants a giant Dumbo, but I guess somebody loves Dumbo. See if I can back this up here. Just some pretty wild stuff. I looked through a lot of the, space age related stuff, but I I didn't like the look of it. You know, it wasn't like this stuff, Tomorrowland. The vibe didn't just it didn't resonate with me. The art style, it was more like late 60s, you know, like this stuff, Astrojets. They're not bad, but it didn't seem authentic to me. It had a retro vibe, not like authentic, period, correct? So, just shows you some more of the stuff. TWA, which yeah. Well, if Disney wasn't involved in this sale, they certainly sold them at some point. This is a lot of artifacts from their parks, which really makes you wonder if they decided to sell off some really good collectibles, you know, the stuff that's working there now. Hell, they can get some serious coin. So, I mean, this is online. If you want to see, I was just trying to get to the Twilight Zone TV and then kind of start wrapping it up. Space Mountain stuff. I know I'm going way too fast, but Buzz Lightyear. Now, they ruined a lot of that crap with the new, like, Buzz Lightyear movie. Here we go. So this TV, they estimated it 2,000 to 4,000, sold for nearly 40 with the buyer's premium. And it plays the introduction of the Twilight Zone and then like a kind of a custom video scene for the ride specifically. So it was the other thing on my radar, and then I just said, you know what? I can have somebody custom build a prop if I really wanted to, whether it, you know, look like an old, or you could literally buy an old tube TV and just stick a flat screen behind it. So at the end of the day, it just, to me, like, would it move the needle for this specific collection? And I said, no, it's not, it's, you know, the Ghost, yes, this, no. So I passed on it. But anyway, that's it. Before I got to start wrapping it up, but I did want to open up a tin piece because, you know, tin is my thing. Not robot related, but it's a battery toy. Yeah, they had, look, they had a lot of cool stuff. If I had unlimited funds in space, I probably would have, you know, considered going higher on the Ghost and maybe pick up some other stuff. But, you know, really, in all honesty, if I wanted to, I would rather invest that money and create my own unique, scary, ghostly attraction, if you will, instead of, you know, that. But, you know, look, it is what it is. I do feel that is going to be worth some serious coin just because of the presentation. Anyway, what do we have here? If I can get this out of the friggin' box. So I had this once before, many moons ago. And it's this police car with the two drivers. This is a very dusty example here. Let me expand the screen here. So I always liked this. I sold it though. Now it has a hole here. I have no idea what the hole is for. This almost looks like a key wine hole. If you see there. Oh, maybe it is. But I never had it boxed. And you know what? I think I'm actually wrong. This should be the wind-up. And I probably had the battery version of this. So I didn't even realize they made a friction version, because this has the stop right there. So, I actually thought I did get the battery version now. Now come to find out it's a freaking wind-up. That is so weird. A giant wind-up police car. And they made this in battery with the two drivers. So I didn't even know what the hell I was buying. But now I actually like it more. So anyway, that's my tin for today. And let's see what the last questions are before I wrap it up. Voyage to the bottom of the sea. My friend got a dragon. Well, yeah, I remember that ride. I remember the ride. If you want to see what my wife got, all you have to do is go to my live stream tabs and I have the video up. You could watch the video when it was delivered. So just go to my channel like so, and you see right here where it says, I'll go down. Just click on live. Or the other way you could do it, go here, just click my channel, and then just hit the live tab there, and you'll see all the episodes. And there it is right there. Ta-da! And you can see it that way. A dragon, and again, that's tough to display. And what else we got? Are you in talks to build a robot amusement ride? No, the only thing I considered, I don't have the space for it. I considered like what do you call it? Like a vintage robot and space toy themed carousel. I've talked about maybe doing something where on a kids carousel you have like the Forbidden Planet Jeep or the sled as they call it with Robbie maybe on one side and then for one toddler passenger, and then actually make cool like toys, full-size toys for the toddlers that they can ride, kind of like the Autopedes, but maybe have like a super cycle, a certain rocket, like the Mars rocket things, but they're just toys, and then you would have it as a carousel. But right now I don't have the room for that. So anyway, I think that kind of concludes the stream for today, and I appreciate everyone that joined me. I have to proceed with my Saturday, unfortunately. And what I'll do is keep everyone posted on the progress, because now I asked my architect to walk me through, and he's going to do the specific sketches, the detailed sketches of the expansion. So once we have that, I'll probably do a live stream just to kind of talk about that. And in the meantime, I appreciate you guys joining me and the time. And John, I'm going to look for that camera if you're still on, and I'll send that off to you, maybe with the Astro Boy smoke gun and a few other things. And thanks again for Al V-Man and everyone else that joined me. I appreciate you guys. And don't forget to share the videos. Thanks again, my friends. I'll talk to you later.